I believe, to have helicopters above, to have this police presence, there's ambulances, there's sirens. Yeah, it's shocking to think that this has come to Bondi.
One thing we know about Bondi, Sydney, the Australian community, is everyone bands together. Your message to those that have been affected by this, directly or indirectly, what's your message to them?
Oh, look, my message is that the Bondi community is a strong community. We've weathered many things over the years. Obviously, the tragedy up in Westfield recently, obviously we'll regroup and band together, but right now I think we need to pause. We need to find out what's actually happened, and I think that once we have some facts, we'll be able to work our way forward together as a community and hopefully heal from whatever has occurred here today. And my love and support goes out to anyone who's been directly affected.
Very well said. Councillor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Georgie, our hearts and our feelings and all of our thoughts right now go out to anybody that's been affected by this tragic incident here at Bondi Beach this afternoon.
Yeah, they most certainly do, Zach. Thank you very much for that. We're going to cross back now to our reporter, Massilia Ali. And Massilia, I believe you're with someone who can talk to this really disturbing vision we're looking at now of what appears to be the gunman opening fire and then a local, or certainly someone standing by, taking on that gunman and managing to wrestle the gun from him, and as we can see, holding it to him, urging for help, urging for people to come and assist him. It's extraordinary vision. Have you got anyone there with you who, in fact, witnessed it? We're seeing locals actually throwing missiles at the alleged gunman.
I do indeed, Georgie. Good evening to you. Yeah, that's right. I mean, with this man who's actually just watched that video. Take us through what you saw.
My name is Alexander. I live in Bondi Beach. Obviously in social media, a lot of videos going through, and there was a heroic by a good Samaritan Australian that jumped on the gun. One of the gunmen put him down. Basically took the gun, was pointing the gun at him, but didn't shoot him because he didn't want to take the law to his own hands. Which I think is the right thing to do, because he can't do that stuff basically just to shoot because he had to shoot. But in that case, it was the whole humanity judgment. Could have been the opposite. But all I want to say, basically, a safe recovery for the injured. It's a sad day to Australia and a sad day to humanity. I've been in Australia for 31 years. I never thought ever in my life that something like that going to happen and come from what I've seen in the Middle East and all the areas there.
And sorry to cut you off, but you mentioned that you said it was quite heroic in such a moment of terror. That small act could possibly make such a big difference.
It does, because if he didn't stop him, he could have taken another few lives and moved forward. It's a moment of insanity and also courage under fire to go and do something like that, So it's like, God bless him, man, we had a man like that, basically, that put his own life at risk to save some more life, basically, not to escalate it to the even next level. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alexander. Georgie, as I mentioned earlier, the scene to my right here is still very much active. You can see it's still closed off for several kilometres here this evening. As I mentioned, that operation right now on the bridge is still underway, and in fact it keeps going. We keep seeing more and more police officers and tactical operations unit arriving here and going inside, and we've been told that once that operation is over, we will be given that update, but for now it is ongoing. A reminder to anyone who's thinking of coming to this area to stay away. Of course, there are still several dozen people here tonight who have been here all afternoon and who are staying for any updates, and a message to those people from police is to try and stay as far away as you possibly can.
Massilia, if you could, can you elaborate on why there is an ongoing active investigation on that bridge? You mentioned before the suggestion of potential bombs or things that could have been left on that bridge that could still be live and at risk of detonating. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Georgie. Now, as we understand it, one of the shooters was actually based on that bridge. It's hard to see from where we're standing right now, but one of those shooters was based on that bridge. And from what police tell us, they believe that there was some sort of detonators or potential detonators that were left or placed there at some point, and that is what they're right now trying to find and essentially remove from the area so that they can begin their investigation into what's happened here this afternoon. But for now, as I mentioned, it's still very very much active because they're yet to locate what they believe are those potentially active detonators.
All right, and as far as you know, Massilia, as many as 20 people have been shot. We know 3 have been killed. One of them, we believe, is one of the 2 shooters. Are you hearing any update on numbers in terms of casualties?
No exact update yet. To be quite honest with you, even as we arrived about 45 minutes ago, there was still a number of people who were being taken away. So I imagine that number's going to keep increasing. But from what I've been told, potentially more than 10 people dead and more than 12 people injured. And that's the rough number at this very early stage, not having been able to count exactly how many people are in hospital right now. We understand there have been a number of people being taken to a number of hospitals right across Sydney, not just St Vincent's that's near here at Bondi. They're being taken right across Sydney because of the sheer number of people that have been injured or impacted by this event here tonight. I'm sure you can hear it, Georgie, that helicopter that I mentioned to you earlier still circulating, and that's an indicator that that operation that I've been telling you about is still ongoing, but that because we've been told that helicopter is very much a part of that police operation. And if I take you around, you can see the number of people that have been here since this incident happened this afternoon. Now, of course, police have told us to try and urge as many people to stay away as possible, but all of these people have actually been here for most of the afternoon and have seen most of what's unfolded here this afternoon.
As you say, Massilia, still an incredibly dangerous situation. We're going to cross now to our reporter, Pippa Bradshaw, who joins us from St Vincent's Hospital. We understand, Pippa, some of the casualties have been rushed there. What can you tell us? What do you know?
Yeah, that's right, Georgie. We've seen a number of casualties be brought here to St Vincent's Hospital. The latest has just come into the ambulance bay. They've just offloaded that patient into the hospital behind me, and that patient did come in with 2 police cars and other police officers running in behind it. So we're not sure, obviously, who that is at this stage. But before that, we have seen around 7 ambulances here tonight rush in. All had police escorts. Some even had police officers driving as paramedics worked on those in the back of the ambulances. We've also seen a number of distressed people arrive here at the hospital this evening. They've been sent around the other entrance, but you can only imagine how some of those people may be feeling tonight, worried about their loved ones who have been told they've been bringing them here in the back of an ambulance.
All right, we're going to now there has in fact been a statement from the Prime Minister that I am going to read to you. Actually, Pippa, in the meantime, we've got vision now of just extraordinary vision of the gunman being wrestled by a Good Samaritan who in fact managed to wrestle the gun from the gunman and keep him at bay. I mean, just unbelievable vision, which some witnesses have been managed to talk to. I mean, there's another local who threw a missile at this man, and there, in fact, on the bridge was what we believe to be the second shooter, shots ringing out. This all unfolding just after 6:30 this evening, right next to a packed Bondi beach. The beach just absolutely crammed full of beachgoers and people at the local restaurants lining Campbell Parade. Incredibly confronting and chilling vision, as you can see. The Prime Minister has issued a response to this incident. He says the scenes in Bondi are shocking and distressing. Police and emergency responders are on the ground working to save lives. My thoughts are with every person affected. I've just spoken to the AFP Commissioner and the New South Wales Premier, and we are working with New South Wales Police and will provide further updates as more information is confirmed. And of course, there is still very much an urgent warning for anyone in the vicinity to follow information from New South Wales Police. Now, we know several people have told Nine News they initially thought the gunshots were fireworks, understandably, in the lead up to Christmas, with festivities playing out around the city. It didn't take them long, though, to work out that, in fact, the shots, that they were, in fact, shots fired and not fireworks. Our reporter Damien Ryan spoke to one such witness who was there.
Today down at Bondi, the drums were playing, it was really nice, but the feeling was just off. I was at the front of the pavilion. There was a big barbecue going on here. I didn't really know what it was about. And then it just sounded like fireworks just going off. And then everyone just ran down to the beach, everyone ran up Campbell, everyone ran up Bull Street, no one knew where the shooters were. It was just pandemonium, very scary. And then I circled back around Cullow Street, and then everyone started running up.
Did you see the shooter?
No.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, they are some of the chilling scenes that have played out at Bondi Beach early this evening, just after 6:30. People there fleeing the scene after multiple shots fired out. We can tell you that at least 10 people, possibly more people, have been shot, at least 3 dead. We're going to cross now to our reporter Annalise Bolt, who joins us from RPA Hospital, and a hospital where more people have been rushed to this evening. Annalise.
Yeah, Georgie, extraordinary scenes here at Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. This is one of Sydney's major trauma hospitals. We've just had an ambulance arrive here under police escort. It came speeding down the road under lights and sirens, and there is a patient now that is being taken out of the back of that ambulance. They've set up a triage at the gates of the hospital here, and they've been bringing patients in and making sure that they get the care that they need. We've actually seen 5 ambulances arrive here now with sirens blaring. We've also seen at least one car, just a normal car that's raced into the car park here, just normal people that are driving their loved ones to hospital to get them the care that they need. Staff met them at the door. They brought out a wheelchair. That man was conscious and he's wheeled inside. We can see another patient that's being wheeled through the doors of emergency here at Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. We did see another patient who was a young man. He was in his 20s, around that age. He was wheeled out of the back of an ambulance, and he was an American tourist, and he was taken through the doors of the hospital here. This is one of Sydney's major trauma hospitals. This scene will be the same at other hospitals around Sydney. We have 10 confirmed people that have been shot, but just as we've been standing here, just in the past half an hour, we have seen at least 5 patients that have been brought here just to this one hospital. So we can expect that number of injured to rise. It's just not confirmed at this stage. We have also seen quite a few people arriving at the hospital that are quite distressed. They're rushing through the doors. They're concerned about their loved ones. They've been told that they've been brought here after those extraordinary scenes in Bondi this evening, Georgie.
Extraordinary scenes indeed, Annalise. Thank you very much for that update. We're going to go back now to Bondi Beach, and reporter Damien Ryan joins us. Damien, there is a bit of conjecture in terms of how many shooters have been involved in this horrific incident. We were led to believe that there were 2, and one in fact has been shot dead by police, the other is in custody. There might be suggestion now in fact that there were 3 gunmen. Have you got any update on that at all?
Good evening to you, Georgie. I'm just going to pick up for Damo. He actually doesn't have an earpiece in, so he can't hear your question. But Damo, Georgie on the line, she's just asked about those people deceased. We know that there's 2 people included, and then the third potentially the shooter. What have you heard from what you saw?
Well, I've spoken to someone who witnessed the shooting and how it ended. He said a policewoman shot dead one of the men. There was another man that was shot dead, not shot, but fatally wounded. They tried to work on him. There was no good. And then a third person basically surrendered. Locals jumped on him and tried to give him a hiding, but police stepped in and threw him in the back of a paddy wagon. But enough said about those 3 people. What we did see down there, on a beautiful Sunday night, Bondi Beach, incredible.
You were there quite early.
Families there, little children wounded, blood all over them. There was a man that I spoke to who had blood all over his head. He saw and heard the gunman. He heard the gunman first, then saw the gunman. He took cover. There was about 300 people there at the Hanukkah festival. Hanukkah festival for children, and in his situation, he was so panicked, grabbed his children, couldn't find his wife, took cover, and then managed to get out unscathed, except for, of course, he had blood on his head, but he was lucky. And he said he saw so many dead bodies around him. Then we saw paramedics. We saw a policeman driving ambulances away because they needed the paramedics on the ground to deal with all the casualties. And they were rushing to hospital. Then I saw, as I said, I saw children. I saw an elderly woman. They put a... Obviously they worked on her, it was no good, and they covered her face, knowing that she was not going to make it. It was insane.
You've been doing this job for more than 30 years now, not only in Sydney but all around the world. I guess in your time and in your experience, have you ever seen anything like this?
Yeah, I have seen many things like this, but not when it's in my backyard. So, yeah, it was tough, but much tougher for all these people. And they all asked why, everyone was asking that. There were Jewish leaders down there trying to calm the masses, but, it was hectic. It was seriously hectic. And the paramedics were run off their feet. An incredible sign, a symbol that you'll see later of the photographs of the wounded being carried out on surfboards because there weren't enough stretchers. And, that sort of sums it all up, doesn't it? The most famous beach in the world, and you've got this bloody mayhem. So it was tough. And now the good news is that the 3 people have been accounted for. We've got one still alive that can explain himself, hopefully, and then you've got a community, not just a Jewish community. You've got all over Australia, I'm sure, feeling for what's happened here today.
And as I mentioned to the viewers and to you a little bit earlier, it's not over yet. It's still an ongoing situation. They're not out of the danger zone yet, and it's already been several hours.
No, we don't know. There's talk of a device left at the scene, because if anyone knows North Bondi, you've got these bridges, walk bridges, which go over the car park, and that's where the 3 gunmen were. There was like a shooting gallery, just taking aim, semi-automatic, and that's why, people have said to me, Damien, there was 100 shots fired. And you can imagine, in firing 100 shots into a large group of people, you're going to pick people off, and that's what they did. It was extraordinary. This will take a long time. This time of the year, how many years ago was the Link Cafe? It was around this time of the year, and Sydney was in mourning for what went on in the heart of the city. Now we're on one of our most famous beaches, and a tragedy has really played out here.
You got here pretty quickly to have seen so much of it firsthand. How quickly did you get here?
I was here probably about 15 minutes. I think the shooting started around 7:15. I was here by 7:10. And so by that time it was over, thank God. But there was still a lot of panic. People were still running because people didn't know, how many gunmen are there? How many gunmen? I said, I don't know. And I said to the police, how many gunmen? They said, we don't know, Dane. And so once they worked it out that they had the 3 people involved, they were dealt with. So now we're going to go through this. This is going to be a crime scene for probably 3 days, 4 days. We're getting so close to Christmas. Yes, so close to Christmas. And you're going to be burying people. You're going to have people in hospital. Yeah, it's wicked.
And yeah, exactly right. You're obviously a local from the eastern suburbs. Take us through the community here, how tight-knit it is and how much this is going to affect and shape this community.
The Jewish community, they've had a wicked time, haven't they? It's not been fun times for them. And it is a very close community. I mean, the Jewish community and the locals, even the local surfing community, they all you know, they all cross-pollinate. We're all together, and yeah, no, this is, you know, I think that the Jewish community have always feared something like this. In fact, I must remember there was one man that I spoke to, and I'm sure you'll see his interview tonight. He's the man with he's got blood on his head, and he's got a bandage swathed around his head, and he was the one with the wife and the 2 kids. He was in Israel and survived October 7th. He was there. And said he came here recently to sort of help the Jewish community in Australia. And, wow. And now he's been caught up in this.
Damien Ryan, one of, I'm sure many viewers know, 9 News senior reporter who got here quite early, Georgie, as he's mentioned, and he's seen so much of this and spoken to so many of people who were affected by it. Now, we are expecting an update from police within the next 5 minutes or so, potentially on the number of casualties, the number of people injured, as well as an update on that ongoing operation that we've mentioned, and we'll bring those details to you, Georgie, as they come.
Celia Ali, we greatly appreciate it, and it's very clear to see that Damien Ryan is deeply affected by this, as are so many people. I want to bring in Alison Petrowski, who joins me now on the desk. I mean, Ali, as we look at that vision of what has unfolded on Bondi Beach, Sydney, Australia, it is just hard to reconcile, isn't it? I mean, it is just not a scene that we are familiar with on home territory.
Georgie, I'm a former US correspondent. Unfortunately, I've been to a lot of mass shootings around the world, many in America. I never thought that we would see a scene like this playing out, not only in Australia, but on Australia's most iconic beach. The images that we're seeing on our screens will play not just throughout tonight and the next few days, that this will echo right through our society, and we'll be watching these images for decades. Georgie, it is quite extraordinary as we try and wrap our heads around it. These are videos taken by eyewitnesses at the scene. There are, and I think we should say, Georgie, to our audience, many people are turning on the TV to get information. It is important that you stay with us, that you don't go looking on social media. I warned my family as I left the house, because what happens in these mass shooting events is awful images are posted. I cannot state strongly enough, Georgie, how important it is to keep your children away from social media. And thank goodness we have a social media ban that kicked in this week, but there are some horrific images doing the rounds on social media, and also some extraordinary images, as you said, Georgie, that bystander who has tackled one of what we now believe is 3 gunmen that we are seeing on our screens right now.
This is the vision now, and my goodness, if that doesn't deserve hero status, I don't know what does, but it is still, I mean, we've watched it several times now, and it is still just so confronting and compelling, dare I say, to witness. That man has just appeared from nowhere. As we can see, he's wrestled the gun from the gunman and managed to keep him at bay. Another local chimes in and throws missiles at this man, as you're about to see there. I mean, that is, dare I say, heroic. Given what was playing out just metres away there on that bridge with the second gunman opening fire. It is just extraordinary.
And you never know how you're going to react in a situation like this if you're a bystander. The locals, well, we believe there may be locals standing there who, you hit fight or flight mode. They've hit fight mode, and they've gone straight to that gun, that man, and fired at him. Another local springing up into action as well. They are remarkable human beings, and to see that they are still at this point in time coming under fire, it is difficult to comprehend what would have been running through their heads, but they are heroes. They are incredibly brave, and we should be incredibly thankful that we have Australians like that, willing to intervene and help other Aussies when they're in dire need.
If you're just joining us, you are seeing a vision of a shooting that has taken place on Bondi Beach early this evening. It all played out just after 6:30. As you can understand, on a warm, balmy evening, the beach was lined with hundreds, if not thousands, of people. Campbell Parade, obviously a renowned spot for restaurants, for dining out. We're at a festive time of the year, so suffice to say, people everywhere, and we're hearing that dozens and dozens of rounds of shots fired out. A lot of people initially thinking it was fireworks, understandably, and then those scenes there of absolute panic, people fleeing the beach to safety, just running anywhere they could to find some form of protection. Sheer terror, not knowing quite what was happening. Suffice to say, Ali, we are sitting here watching this vision still in a state of shock ourselves. So
We are absolutely. And look, we don't know what was at play exactly, but we do know that there was a Jewish event on at the Bondi Park Playground this afternoon, Chanukah by the Sea. By no means are we saying that this is some sort of targeted attack. We simply do not know that at all, but that is one of probably many events that were playing out on Bondi Beach. It is really, Georgie, isn't it the start of school holidays? Some students are already on holidays, many go on holidays this week. Plenty of Sydney-siders just enjoying our most iconic beach, taking in what would have been, you would normally imagine, a beautiful sunset at Bondi, just getting through the rest of the weekend and to have this unfold in our backyard is simply extraordinary.
Absolutely. Many tourists who were on Bondi Beach understandably have been left absolutely shocked by these events, some taking cover in restaurants and in cafes, and reporter Zach Bailey has just spoken to some of them. Here's what some of them had to say.
Maria, I'll start with you. You were here when the incident transpired. Can you just explain exactly what you saw?
Yeah, like we were celebrating her birthday. We got her like a ticket for the Sunset Cinema, so we just walked over the bridge and kept camping. We were like sitting for 2 minutes and then started shooting. Like we thought it was timer, but at some point all the people started screaming and we heard the first police car, so we took all our stuff, just like hide around the corner. Like we didn't know where it comes from, what it is, and like I thought it would be stupid to just like start running right away. It's like I don't know, never know if they are behind you or not. And then at some point the family with the babies come out and like I asked them what's happening and they were like screaming, they're here, they're coming on, I don't know, like run, and like we took off our shoes and just like started running up the street. Like I don't know, we have not had like eaten dinner yet, so we were really weak, but you had to run like at this point. So I don't know, I've never felt that before. Yeah, like I thought we were gonna like maybe stay there and die. I don't know. Like it was really scary. Like yeah, I think my body just said like run. I don't know. Yeah.
And that must be so scary. Like you said, you thought you'd die.
Yeah, it was like I've never felt that before. You always like when we're from Germany, so last Christmas there was like something similar like at the Christmas market. So you just thought like okay, it will happen in the news, but you've never been there. But now we were like I can't imagine, like I can't describe how it feels. Like I talked to like friends at home and my mom, and she was like, "Oh, that's scary and what can happen?" But I don't know, you can't really describe the feeling. Yeah.
You don't compare anything like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you all ran together up the street here towards the sun and the beach, but
looked in our phones, like what's going on, and then we started running. Yeah, like we didn't look behind us. Yeah, it was just like run, run, run.
And obviously you're not from here, you're from Germany, but Bondi, it's iconic. Sydney's one of Australia's best beaches. To witness that here, like how does that sit with you guys being tourists here that we're just enjoying the moment?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, not what you expected. Like, I don't know, just like never in my mind that it could happen here right now. Like, you know that there are some areas of Sydney where it's like maybe not that safe, but because this is like the populous place, you don't like have that in your mind. Like, for sure it happens here where a lot of people are, but yeah.
I actually have to say that my first opinion about Australia was that I feel so much more safe than in Germany, and I felt so much better the last month and felt safe the whole time, and I definitely didn't imagine having something like that.
I live on the northern beaches, so a little bit far away from here, and we're not often in Bondi, so we were really excited to spend the day here, having some snacks on the beach, and then it turns out this is tragic.
Tourists there are articulating obviously what so many people have encountered this afternoon. Just horrific scenes that no one would ever have expected at Bondi Beach. We've got an update in terms of casualties. We understand we are horrified and deeply saddened to tell you that 10 people have been confirmed dead at this shooting this evening at Bondi Beach. We understand one of them is one of the shooters, still to be confirmed 2, possibly 3 gunmen. The other shooter, a second shooter, is in police custody and we understand is injured. We are hearing at least 12 other people are injured, so 10 confirmed dead, 12 injured. This is still an incredibly dangerous scene. People are being urged to stay away from Bondi Beach. It is still part of a massive investigation. These are just statistics, Ali, that are hard to wrap your head around.
They are. It's not something that we ever hear of in Australia at all. And it strikes me that tomorrow is 11 years since the Lynch siege. When you think of moments that stopped the country, moments that stopped the nation, this is now on par with that. Obviously, this is still developing, but 10 people confirmed dead, many more injured. And we are only just beginning to get our heads around just the breadth of this. To hear Damien Ryan, one of our senior reporters, someone so revered in our newsroom, who has reported on the biggest scenes around the world, he's reported from wars, but to hear that emotion in his voice a little earlier when we heard him, Georgie, to hear that crackling, this is going to hurt and hit so many Australians. We are a small community in a way, and everyone is going to know someone who has been affected by this, who has perhaps been killed by this, who has been seriously injured by this. The ramifications of this are enormous, and we're just wrapping our heads around it this evening.
We absolutely are. We understand that a number of people have been taken to Royal North Shore Hospital in Sydney. Understandably, with so many casualties, ambulances have been rushing people to several hospitals. Royal North Shore is one of them, and that is where we find our reporter James Wilson. And James, I understand you might have some details of some of the patients who have been taken there to where you are.
That's right, Georgie. That alarming number of casualties, 10 confirmed deceased and at least 12 injured. Just 5 minutes ago, that triage is still continuing all across Sydney, including here at Royal North Shore Hospital. We just saw a police escort arrive, followed by an ambulance and a person taken into the emergency department. Among those injured, I'll just read this out: a child with an injury to their arm, a 62-year-old woman with injuries to her leg, a man with a bullet grazed to his head. Some horrific injuries. And of course, this triage is still happening while we go to where there are casualties still at Bondi Beach being seen to, whether they're being triaged to places like Royal North Shore Hospital where I am, RPA and St Vincent's, just to name a few. That sheer mass of casualties, obviously the load is having to be spread all across Sydney hospitals. And just to take you back to that moment 5 minutes ago, it was a police car, a highway patrol, Flying up here, the lights and sirens, followed by an ambulance. They quickly rushed that person straight through that emergency department. That ambulance then reversed out, lights and sirens straight back down to what I can only presume is Bondi Beach, still so fresh and raw. And of course that triage and emergency process is still happening as they grapple with the sheer amount of people that require treatment. And we can only imagine that the majority of these injuries are those gunshots. I just told you there, children, men, a 60-year-old woman caught up in this. It was a Hanukkah festival down at Bondi Beach, a family event with a petting zoo, rides and food, and of course it's a reflection of just how diverse the community is down there, families as well as elder people and mothers and fathers. So all of those people now seeking help in hospitals across Sydney. I mentioned Royal North Shore, RPA and St Vincent's right now doing some of the heavy lifting.
James Wilson at Royal North Shore Hospital, we appreciate the update. Thank you so much. We're going to cross back now to our reporter Damien Ryan, who is at Bondi Beach. Damo, as we come to you, we of course are confirming that 10 people have been killed, including one of the shooters. The other shooter, we understand, is in police custody. We're hearing at least 12 others have been injured. 2 police officers have been shot. It's unclear as to whether they were part of those 12. These are just horrific statistics, and we're all still in a state of shock as we look again at this vision of this, what we can call now a mass shooting playing out this evening at Bondi Beach.
Well, this is what's going to happen when you're firing at least 100 shots, minimum I'm hearing at this point, from a semi-automatic rifle and a shotgun. Initially, as I reported, I was told by a witness that he thought there were 3 gunmen. Police are now telling us that it's actually 2. One is dead and another is in custody. There are images of him being put in the back of a paddy wagon. As for the casualties, I'm not surprised of that death toll because I spoke to people who were on the ground and said there were many, many people who'd been mortally wounded. Can you hear me, Georgie?
You, Damo. We can hear you, Damien, yes.
Sorry, well, there's a bit of a southerlies coming in as we speak. And so, as I said, it was about 6:45. It was Hanukkah, a special festival, basically for families, of course, at this time of the year. And there was no doubt, police aren't going to confirm it just yet, but you don't have to be. You don't have to be. You don't have to be.
Damien Ryan.
What's going on here now? You've got a crime scene. This is going. Sorry.
Damien, as we...
Shall I keep talking? I'm really struggling here.
That's okay. As we talk to you, we are seeing more vision playing out from this afternoon with people fleeing the scene. As we know, it was just after 6:30 this evening when, as you say, multiple rounds of shots rang out. People there enjoying the balmy summer evening, people eating at all the local restaurants and cafes. We've heard from several witnesses now that they initially thought it was fireworks given the time of year and the festivities, and as you say, that Hanukkah festival there being staged on Bondi Beach. And it is still just extraordinary to now realise that in fact what was playing out was what you're seeing now on the screen. 2 gunmen, one there as you can see firing from that little footbridge at the northern end of Bondi Beach on Campbell Parade. It is just extraordinary scenes. Damien, have I still got you there?
Yes, you do, Georgie. I can, as you can say, let's go back to when I first arrived and what we saw. The thing that I could not believe was just locals, with carrying surfboards, carrying people to the ambulances. I mean, that's how dire this situation was. And so many people were wounded. People I spoke to, their heads wrapped in bandages after being obviously, wounded. But there were so many people in need of help. And mean, there is no doubt that the emergency services were stretched. It was a Sunday evening, a beautiful Sunday evening at Bondi Beach, the iconic Bondi Beach. The good thing is that the police station is literally 500 metres away, so the men and the women of the police force were quick on the ground. We know that a female police officer was one who helped bring an end to this. She is understood to have fired a shot, but now we understand that 2 other police officers were wounded in what probably was a gun battle. We'll get to the bottom of that at some point. But and then you have, you can't see me now, but just literally 150 metres from behind me is the bridge, the walk bridge, where the gunmen used their, took aim, and as I said before, it was like a shooting gallery, just shooting madly, frantically, disgustingly into a large crowd of people. And as I said, there was many families in that, and there is no doubt that children have been either killed or badly wounded in this dreadful situation.
Desk with Georgie. You got down there remarkably quickly, within 15 minutes of this happening. I want to know, with the people that you were seeing around you, did they understand that that was a mass shooting that they had witnessed? I know that in these moments people are stunned and they're shocked.
No.
Could they digest what had happened?
No, I had no idea. No idea, Ali. People, as you were driving in, people were running out. You can understand that because they heard the gunshots. And they didn't know where they were really coming from, who was firing them, and who was being shot at. And so a lot of people just ran from the beach and cleared out. And it was the right thing to do, no doubt. Allowing the emergency services people to get here, those police officers, those crucial police officers who were here, who brought an end to this tragedy as quickly as they could. But yeah, it was chaotic. As I was walking in, I'd say to people, "What's going on?" And they're going, "There's sound, there's gunfire everywhere. We don't know where it's coming from, but we've got to get out of here." And of course, that was the exact thing they needed to do. And there were so many people that have been scarred by this. A lot of people in this Bondi community, the Jewish community, anyone who was here today, tourists at this famous beach, they're going to think, "Wow, what just happened here today?"
It is absolutely chilling, Damo, as you say. In addition to these 2, we understand 2 shooters, there's also been reports of a pipe bomb found in a car at the scene, and we've got some shots just in to illustrate that. Damo, are you hearing anything on the ground about that?
Yeah.
That in addition to these gunmen firing rounds and rounds of shots, there was also potentially bombs that they had, possibly planned to detonate.
Well, the Special Tactical Response Group here, they were the ones who zeroed in on that, whatever it was, whether it was a parcel or whether it was a bag. Of course, you have to take every precaution. At the moment, that area is still sealed off, so I suspect they're still having a look to see what it is. The bomb squad will come in and examine that it looks like a small bag, I think. What I have seen is the guns. There's images that I've seen of the guns that were left on the ground. They were, like, I'm not a gun expert, they were big guns. They were like a semi-automatic rifle. So these guys were armed to the teeth. If they had a device, well, thankfully, thank God, they did not trigger. If it was a device, it didn't trigger it. But they will take extra precautions here. That's why we're well back. We're about 300 metres from the scene at the moment, and I suspect it's going to be like this for quite some time.
We'll cross back to you again shortly, Damo, if you could stand by. Let's now, though, go to reporter Emma Partridge, who joins us from the Sydney Police Centre at Surrey Hills. Emma, we are expecting an update shortly from police. Can you give us any more information, though, where you are?
Yes, Georgie, I'm at the Sydney Police Centre in Surrey Hills, and we've just got word that the Police Commissioner Mal Lanyon and the Premier will be holding a press conference in about half an hour's time. And also sadly confirm that news that we've reported earlier that 10 people have been confirmed dead, including one of the shooters. I'm at the SPC the heart of the city. Dozens of cars are leaving here with sirens on, and the most senior police in the state I've seen running into the building here. This is where the Police Operations Centre has fired up in the last 30 minutes, and a briefing's been held behind me inside. The head of the homicide squad is here, the Director of State Crime, senior police running inside, trying to figure out what's going on, the damage. It's a very somber mood here, but it's just all hands on deck, and the investigation will be based out of here at the Sydney Police Centre, Georgie.
So, as you say, we will hear officially from police in about half an hour from now, so possibly around 9:30 this evening. In the meantime, we're going across now to 60 Minutes producer Amelia Ballinger, who joins us by phone. Amelia, I don't know if you can hear me, but my understanding is you were at Bondi Beach when those shots began to ring out early this evening. Just, if you can hear me, talk us through what you heard and saw.
Hi Georgie, yeah, I was down at one of those restaurants right near where Damo is standing at the moment. We had, you know, like most locals who live in Bondi, been down to the beach in the afternoon and enjoyed this beautiful sunny day, and we walked past that party and commented, you know, how everyone looked like they were having a really nice time, and it would have only been 10 or 15 minutes later we were sitting at that restaurant very close to there and heard the first shot, which of course, like everyone says, sounds like a car backfiring or, you know, a firework. But almost as soon as I heard the second and then third shot, I had a sense of what was happening. We were sat outside on the pavement. I just said to the friend I was with, "Run, it's a gun." And we sprinted with a lot of other people, you know, lots of fear and lots of screaming and people not quite knowing what was going on. But we sprinted back to my apartment, which is about 5 minutes away from where that was all happening. But, you know, like a lot of people, we left all our stuff there, no phones, no keys. And as we were running, I mean, you could still hear the shots. There were dozens of shots being fired, and that continued after we managed to get into the safety of our neighbour's apartment. Very kindly let us in, and we all bunkered down together. But obviously a terrifying situation and an awful situation for the people who live here. Now knowing what has unfolded and getting a sense of what has happened.
Amelia, it's Ali in studio with Georgie. You were a European correspondent for us for many years. You covered many terror attacks during your time in London. Can you run us through, I guess, the emotion that you felt in that first 60 seconds or so when you realised something was terribly wrong?
Well, I think, you know, very unfortunately it was that experience that let me know instinctively what was happening. You know, and you kind of, as I said, you hear one and you don't think much of it, but when it was timed out, that second shot and then a third. And it's a real panic, of course, that comes over you, and a real fear. You know, I said to my friend afterwards, and not at this at the time, because we're running and we're trying to keep moving, but you have this terrible sense of, are you running into danger as well? You can hear shots in one place, but are you running into something else? There was no sense of where exactly this was coming from. Of course, in an area like Bondi, things echo. So I think absolutely that experience from Europe, but particularly at that time where there was really heightened terror threats, I guess informed the way I was feeling. It doesn't get better or easier, I can tell you that. It is still terrifying. But as I said, you know, sort of the second I heard that second and third shot, I really had a terrible feeling of what was happening. And you know, I think Dana was right. I think a lot of people didn't have that sense, but there was still widespread panic and fear and a lot of people screaming and yelling and not knowing what to do. But I will just say as well, you know, we have seen this, you know, the emergency response and people getting there very quickly, and I know that in this neighbourhood right now people are reaching out to each other and trying to help. We spent 90 minutes with my neighbours downstairs, who I don't know very well, but they were very happy to let us in and look after us, and I know that's happening all over this suburb right now.
It is a tight community, there's no doubt about it, Amelia, and you know, can I just say I'm just so sorry that you have been in the thick of it and have witnessed this. I can only imagine it was absolutely terrifying and surreal. there's an image, I don't know if you've seen it, but there is an image of a local, a good Samaritan, a hero if you like, actually taking on one of the gunmen and wrestling the gun from him. This is the vision now. It is just extraordinary, wrestling the gun from him and holding it up in a way to ensure that he backed off and kept him at bay, prevented him from firing at others. We have an update that one of the shooters has been killed in this incident. A second is in a critical condition. We don't know whether that particular gunman who had the gun taken from him was the man who was eventually killed. This vision then goes to the footbridge where we see the second shooter just still firing randomly at people as they were fleeing in a state of absolute terror.
And Georgie, we're just getting news into the newsroom that the home of one of the shooters in Bonnyrigg is currently being raided by New South Wales Police. That is the home of one of the shooters in Bonnyrigg is currently being raided. We believe that soon we will be able to bring you pictures of this unfolding. The moment that they come into the newsroom, we'll bring them to our viewers.
We can also only show our viewers of a still photograph of one of the gunmen. He's pictured standing on the overpass bridge over that car park at the northern end of Bondi Beach. It's too early to ascertain as to whether that is the gunman who in fact has been killed by police or whether he is the one who we understand now is in a critical condition in hospital. If you're just joining us, we are devastated to tell you the news that there has been a mass shooting this evening at Bondi Beach, Sydney. 10 people are confirmed dead, including one of the shooters. Many more injured. It has been a scene of absolute chaos and pandemonium with ambulance, police crews ferrying the injured to various hospitals in Sydney. As you can understand, the nature of these injuries from gunshot is something that hospitals don't see on a daily basis, and certainly in these sort of numbers, it is just vision that we are still grappling to understand.
And 10 dead, Georgie, perhaps more to come. 10 dead, though, would make it the worst shooting since Port Arthur, since before the enormous ban on semi-automatic weapons and before our enormous gun ban. It is difficult to wrap our heads around. A witness has described the scene on Bondi Beach as an absolute massacre. Damien Ryan spoke with a Jewish man who survived the October 7 massacre, only for him to be injured in the chaos of today's shooting. And a warning, some viewers may find this interview confronting.
So we're just looking at the Jewish leaders over here hugging each other. I mean, what else can you do?
Not a lot you can do right now. Right now, everyone's got to help, everyone's got to hug, everyone's got to embrace. This is it was a bloodbath. It was an absolute massacre.
Tell me what happened.
I was here with my family. It was a Hanukkah celebration. There were hundreds of people. There were children. There were elderly families enjoying themselves. Children, kids at a festival, playing, and then all of a sudden it's absolute chaos. There's guns, fire everywhere, people ducking. It was absolute chaos. We didn't know what was happening, where the gunfire was coming from. I saw blood gushing in front of me. I saw people hit, saw people fall to the ground. My only concern was, where are my kids? Where are my kids? Where's my wife? Where's my family? I survived October 7th. I lived in Israel the last 13 years. We came here only 2 weeks ago to work with the Jewish community, to fight anti-Semitism, to fight this bloodthirsty, ravaging hatred.
That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. We've lived through worse. We're going to get through this, and we're going to get the bastards that did this.
Tell me, did you see the gunman?
I did. I saw at least one gunman firing. Looked like a shotgun firing randomly in all directions. I saw children falling to the floor. So elderly I saw, invalids I saw. People just, it was an absolute bloodbath, blood gushing everywhere. October 7th, that's the last time I saw this. I never thought I would see this in Australia, not in my lifetime.
On Bondi Beach?
On Bondi Beach, of all places, this iconic place.
Your children, your wife?
My children, my wife are safe, thank God. They're okay. They managed to get away. But I didn't know. I didn't know where they were, and There's nothing. There's no greater fear, no greater horror not knowing where your family is. They're okay. They'll be okay.
You're a legend. Thank you. And you don't know how you got shot or hurt?
I got hit in the head. I'm bleeding. I've lost blood. There are people around me that are far worse. I'll be okay. We'll be okay as a community, and we will defeat these ravages hatred.
Unbelievable scenes, and this gentleman, this particular gentleman, one of just so many who, he describes it as a bloodbath.
Yeah, and we talked about fight and flight, and what do you do? In the minutes after this attack, he says we're going to get the bastards, like to have that resolve, to have that strength, and to find the courage in that moment to try and protect people. That was an extraordinary interview by Damien Ryan, who has done an incredible job getting down there on the scene as quickly as he possibly could to help us get a better understanding of what is going on. And obviously things are still rapidly unfolding, Georgie. We're still trying to get a picture of what exactly is going on. Plenty of people tuning in from the eastern suburbs are anxious, nervous, hunkered down. It is important that you don't go down to Bondi Beach at the moment. Stay away from that area. Some enormous investigations, as you can imagine, are still underway. There is, of course, a potential pipe bomb situation in cars that police are investigating at the moment. I do think we have some pictures showing a pipe bomb that was in a car found at the scene. We'll try and get you those pictures shortly. But look, this is a moving situation. I'm having friends text me at the moment who are in the eastern suburbs in Queen's Park saying that there is a heavy police presence in that area, that there is a heavy police presence around Mariah College. Not that there is any indication that there is anything untoward there, but the city is on edge, particularly the Jewish community, given that what has unfolded this afternoon. We do not know, as we go to air, that this was a targeted attack, but there are many question marks, and hopefully Georgie will soon have some answers.
We are going to hear from police. Police are going to hold a press conference in about 20 minutes from now, but we will hopefully get some more facts when we hear from them then. In the meantime, we are going to cross to reporter Pippa Bradshaw, who joins us at St Vincent's Hospital at Darlinghurst, not too far from Bondi Beach. Pippa, as we know, 10 people have been killed in this mass shooting. 12 others are injured, potentially far more, and some are being treated where you are. What do you know?
Yeah, that's right, Georgie. The latest confirmation we have is that 6 patients have been brought here to St Vincent's, but we have seen multiple ambulances come in here this evening over the last 2 hours, and most of them have had a police escort, some even 2 police cars. We saw in some instances that police officers were driving those ambulances while the paramedics were working on people in the back as they rushed them inside. We've also seen multiple cars pull up with medical staff jumping out and running inside. This is what they are trained for, but even this would be a shock to them this evening. We've also seen a number of people arrive and rush inside who obviously have loved ones inside they're worried about. I saw one man who had a ripped shirt and blood on his back, and another that was clearly inconsolable heading into the hospital here tonight. We've recently seen a number of police officers, even an entire van full of police, head inside, as well as detectives. There was also one woman about 45 minutes ago who came along with some flowers and placed them outside St Vincent's here. I asked her why she felt compelled to do that tonight. She just said it broke her heart seeing this news break online and on the news here with us tonight, and she just wanted to come down and do this little bit. She felt hopeless, and she thought this was a little bit that she could tell people she was thinking of them.
In times like this, what are you meant to do? Give blood, put flowers. I remember in Bondi, I live across the road when the stabbing happened. Same thing. It's the only solace you can get. This is like, I hate this place, and I don't mean Australia. Australia's the best country in the world. What is going on?
As you can hear from her, she was quite emotional as she came down here this evening. She just walks nearby. She said she's actually going in for an operation herself tomorrow and just felt compelled to come down here. We are waiting to see an update from police. We do know that they will speak at around 9:30 this evening. 10 people so far confirmed dead. One of those, the shooter, and everyone is just hoping that all those injured rushed here and to other hospitals right across Sydney this evening will pull through.
Pippa Bradshaw at St Vincent's, thank you for that. And as you say, all hospitals being called on this evening. We're going to go now to Annalise Bolt, who in fact is outside the emergency department of Royal Prince Alfred at Camperdown in Sydney's inner west. And Annalise, where you are, you've seen families of many of the victims arriving there.
Yeah, Georgie, heartbreaking scenes this evening at the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. This is one of Sydney's major trauma hospitals, and we have seen quite a few families who arrive. They've been absolutely shell-shocked, facing the horrible reality that their loved ones have been caught up in this attack. The numbers are constantly changing. We don't know exactly how many patients have been brought here, but we have seen at least 5 ambulances arrive here under lights and sirens. Many have had a police escort. We've also seen one person, just a normal family, driving their car, rushing into the car park so their loved one can urgently get medical treatment. That rush of activity has actually quietened down just in the last half an hour, because we have heard that the emergency department here is now full and it is not accepting any patients. But staff here have set up a triage at the doors so that they can get patients the care that they urgently need. I do have an update on which patients have been taken to various hospitals around Sydney. We know that many have been taken to St Vincent's, second is Royal Prince Alfred Hospital, others have been taken to St George, Royal North Shore, Westmead, Sydney Children's Hospital and the Prince of Wales Hospital. So really, hospitals right across Sydney are accepting patients now. We know that many people are injured. The numbers are constantly changing, and that awful confirmation that 10 people have died, but it is quite chaotic scenes right across the city right now, Georgie.
Annalise Bolt at RPA, thank you very much for the update. And given that all Sydney's hospitals are right now taking patients from the scene at Bondi, indicates that we have a vast number of casualties, a vast number of people who have been caught up and injured in this incident. Vasilia Ali has been at Bondi Beach since this all unfolded early this evening, and she in fact has spoken to the man who was one of the first to film video of the shooting. Here's a little bit of what he has had to say.
Me, I am very shocked. I am in Australia since just 2 days, and it's my first time in the beach. I go in the beach and I look 2 men, me, I don't scout dans vehicle because I am crazy. Donc me, I go look, before one car, and cachet, I look one man issue, fight, everything. It's amazing. It's the first time I look this in my life. Sorry, from my life.
How scared were you?
Sorry?
How scared were you?
I'm scared. I look sniper. There is 2 sniper, 2 men sniper in the white, and he shoot. No, shotgun. Me, I look. I am shocked and I go on. One mother. There is one.
Pregnant?
Yes, pregnant. Sleep in the floor. No gun, just in hand. I look one mother. Me, I roll up the mother. I say, go, I pay for you one bottle water. It's no one problem. Go, no scammers. I say this, I want this. I go in the McDonald's. I pay one bottle. My girl is dead today.
Did you ever think you'd see something like this in Sydney?
In Sydney? What? Sorry?
Did you ever think you would see something like this in Sydney?
Yes, let's go.
Are you surprised that this
Yes, I am surprised it's in Australia. For me, I go in Australia, I play football in Western Sydney FC, look in Liga League 1. I play football 2 days. The first time I want to go to beach and I look this. I am shocked.
maybe not want to come back to the beach in the summer?
No, I'll come back. It's not one problem, but there is security in the Bondi Beach. It's not possible. 2 men, he say 2 sniper and bing every. No, there is just 1 second of security, And me, no problem. I come back in Australia.
so many tourists who have witnessed this mass shooting this afternoon at Sydney's iconic Bondi Beach. I mean, possibly, arguably, the world's most famous beach is Bondi. We're going to cross back now to our reporter Damien Ryan, who was at the scene of the shooting within about 15-20 minutes of it all unfolding. And Damo, you mentioned earlier, fortuitously, Bondi Police Station is positioned very, very close to the beach, very, very close to where this all unfolded. And I understand the response from emergency services was extremely swift.
Yeah, it was pretty swift, but you know, the wish is, I wish they got there quicker. No doubt there was, we've been told now, we've confirmed that these two gunmen were firing for 9 minutes and into the Hanukkah festival. There's a playground next door, and they were shooting there for 9 minutes. It took police about 4 minutes to actually rally and get there. There was police there within maybe 2 or 3 minutes, but they needed backup. But I'm also being told by a witness that one of the first victims of this tragedy was a gentleman who charged at the gunman on the bridge, and he challenged the gunman, and the gunman turned and shot him dead. And that's basically how it all began. And then they opened fire on the many people that were in the festival. So there was a gentleman who challenged this officer, they challenged this man, out of the two gunmen, and then but he was shot dead. I know that the police who were on the ground, who ended this terrible situation, they fired their guns from a playground about 30 metres from where the gunmen were. So they did extremely well to combat the situation and bring it to an end. There was 2 or 3 police officers. There was a police who was deeply distressed, obviously, after what had happened. But we do know that that was the situation. And I've also been told by a police officer the weapon was not a semi-automatic rifle. It was, they believe, a Remington 870, which is obviously lethal and can fire quickly, but it wasn't a semi-automatic rifle. So it's a licensed firearm. People are allowed to have that sort of firearm if you've got a license. But that will now obviously be a major part of this investigation. Where did it come from? Where did they get it from? And what was this all about?
It's Ali. One thing you said earlier in one of your earlier crosses really struck me. You mentioned that you believe that children may have been injured, potentially even killed in this attack. I mean, you just mentioned there that shots were fired from a playground. Can you give us any sort of clarity, any sort of understanding? Do you believe that kids could be affected in this?
Oh, definitely. I can definitely tell you there was one child that was being cared for by paramedics, and there was blood on her face, and she was being looked after by paramedics. So there is no doubt, because there were so many children in the group, that there will be no doubt that children have perished in this tragedy. There was up to 300 people. The number's being tossed around a bit, but and then I saw that child being treated by paramedics. And then I saw a number of elderly people, a number of middle-aged people, as I said, being worked on and being looked after and being treated. And I saw many people just walking around with bandages who'd survived the attack. But yeah, no doubt, there is no doubt there were children there. And there were children playing in that playground as well who were not a part of the festival. So who knows whether they got caught up in it, but that's where the police officers who brought an end to this tragedy, that's where they fired their guns from, looking up at the gunmen who were looking down and shooting anyone they could, basically.
This is just still so incredibly difficult to compute, to fathom, that this has all unfolded at Sydney's Bondi Beach late this afternoon with families, tourists, just so many people enjoying a summer evening, and for this to have all unfolded. Let's just take a moment to recap on what we know so far. As Damo said, this is still an unfolding situation. It's still a critical situation down there at the beach. But what we can tell you at this point is that this afternoon's events are now being referred to as a massacre. 10 people are confirmed dead. after two gunmen opened fire on Bondi Beach. It all unfolded at about 6:40 this evening. At least 12 other people are in hospital. We imagine that that number, in fact, is far greater, given that 4 hospitals are dealing with people with gunshot injuries. We know one of the gunmen is among those killed. The second is one of those being treated in hospital. We understand his condition is critical. We can tell you that 2 police officers are among the victims. However, it is not clear as to what condition they are in. We can also tell you that police have reportedly found a bomb, a pipe bomb, in a vehicle at the scene. There was suggestion also of potentially a bomb planted on that footbridge, the footbridge where we have seen a gunman shooting from. A short time ago, we got word in that police had also begun raiding one of the shooters' homes, and we can tell you that that home is in Bonnyrigg, in Sydney's western suburbs. This is an unfolding situation. Sorry, Damo.
You got that?
Okay.
And we are trying to get pictures from this raid that is unfolding at the moment in Bonnyrigg, Georgie. Our newsroom is chasing that. Hopefully we'll be able to get that to our viewers very, very soon. I've just been popping online, and this is making headline news around the world, unfortunately, Georgie. CNN, New York Times, NBC.
Yeah, and we will, of course, hear from police. Police are set to hold a press conference in about 4 minutes, hopefully, from now, where we hopefully can obtain more facts, more information. In the meantime, I want to cross to Kate Creedon, who's standing by at the marshalling area of Bondi. Kate, from where you are, what can you tell us?
Well, Georgie, is still very much, as you said, an active crime scene here at the moment. If you take a look down Campbell Parade, it literally looks like a car park with those red and blue lights. Police cars lining all of Campbell Parade. We've seen the heavily armed tactical police here on the scene go through, and of course there is 2 of the police helicopters still circling in the sky as we go to air tonight. Now, I've been speaking with a number of people here at the scene who witnessed what happened or were close by and diving at the time. Many of them have told me that they heard these shots ringing out and feared for their lives. People have told me that they hid in the toilets of restaurants, all crammed in together, waiting for that gunfire to stop. I've also spoken with another gentleman who told me that he is still waiting to hear from friends and family that he knew were down on the beach and waiting for any sort of word that they are doing okay. That really is the concern for people that are coming down here at the moment. They're worried. They're hoping to hear anything from their loved ones. And certainly, you know, what we've heard so far is just how many people are on the beach at the time, and really the confusion and chaos that happened in the moments after this started. Now, I was travelling here myself. We had heard earlier that there may have been additional scenes, and even travelling into Bondi this afternoon or this evening as we heard that news. It was just ambulance after ambulance with a police escort coming down along Old South Head Road, along Military Road. Actually, there was the private police for the Jewish community blocking Military Road, obviously as news spread and concerns spread. And certainly the Jewish community, of course, here in Bondi, it's a strong